Hey, what's up? Check it out. So here today we have tiger lilies, and we have 4 of them. And so we want to find out the best way of preserving fresh flowers in a jar. Looked this up online and I couldn't find very much information, so what we're going to do is we have 4 different liquids. We're going to put each lily in a different liquid and see which one stays the longest. We're going to write down what's in each one and the date. So today's the 19th of July. And this one's going to be oil. This one is going to be gasoline. This one is going to be vinegar. And this one is going to be Sprite. Alright, so we're going to put the flour right in the vinegar. Try and put it in as least destructive as possible. These things are pretty fragile. They're really pretty, so we'll see what we can accomplish here. It's not easy at all because flour wants to break super much. Alright. Wow, and it just barely fits into the jar. Okay, that one's vinegar. So I've got a bottle of distilled white vinegar here. We're gonna pour it in. Good stuff, smells like salad. Alright, we'll flick and try and get air bubbles out of there as best as possible. Probably open it tomorrow or something. Maybe not, we'll just leave it. Alright, so there's vinegar. Looks pretty cool. It's pretty slick. Alright, we'll do Sprite next. So let's pop this flour up in here now that I see how they fit. Just kind of gotta crunch it down in a little bit and it'll poof back out. Alright. There we go. Let the thing settle down in there. Alright, now we've got almost a whole 20 ounces of Sprite. Hopefully this is enough to fill it. I took a drink beforehand, so if not, that's my fault. Nope, it looks like the flour is floating in here now. Otherwise it would be enough to almost cover it all the way. Okay. That's as much Sprite as we have in that bottle, so we'll cover it there. See all the carbonated bubbles all over it? Covering it. Looks like some kind of weird starfish or something under the ocean. Alright, next up, we're on to vegetable oil. I got a way bigger flour this time, so see if this thing will crunch down in here. Oh, I can hear it crunching a little bit. And there we go, pop right in. Okay. Flour's not floating in this one. So there's oil. Not as many air bubbles. Looks way different. Flour did not float. Looks a little bit more magnified maybe. So that's kind of cool on the off, like yellowish colors, pretty vintage looking. All right, Now we've got gasoline. Now I didn't put a control in here of water because I figure so many people have already tried water, salt water, and all the variants that it's just redundant for me to try that. I didn't see any super great methods online for doing this that lasts for any length of time, so that's why we're doing this. Alright, so that's in there. Now we're gonna add some gasoline. Oh, how's it going? Gasoline's got a yellow color to it as well. Ooh, this stuff smells strong. Alrighty. And there's gasoline. Gasoline looks like the bubbles are coming out really fast. Alright, it looks pretty it's hazy. A lot of the stuff off the flour already fell to the bottom as compared to the other ones. The yellow color is similar to the oil, but it's a little bit darker. So check back with us in a week and we'll show you what has happened to these flours. Alright, so we're back here. It's been 7 days. Today is July 26th. And we have 4 flours that we have let sit in these different liquids for a whole week, 7 days. So let's take a look at them and see all the different changes. So we're gonna start at the opposite end with vinegar. And so the vinegar here looks like the flour ended up floating all the way to the top and it got pretty crumble. It's not crumbly, it's like loose. And the liquid turned solid pink. I don't know if you can tell, it's not because of the car. The liquid itself is actually pink. So I don't know about this method for preserving them for any length of time. It's interesting. Alright, next. We're gonna move on to the Sprite. So the Sprite stayed floating the whole time, and before it had all those little bubbles, like it looked like a starfish, but now if you see the flour is kind of curled up underneath, kind of like how the vinegar did. Liquid didn't change any colors though. The top of the flour looks like it stayed just fine, no big deals or issues. It looks pretty much the same, minus it curled up a little bit and started to brown, kind of like a banana. Alright, on to the oil. So this was the plain vegetable oil we used, and as you can see, it got really like opaque over the course of a week. The little ends on there are really dark. Like you can't even see through that thing at all. It looks like the flour has lost all the black spots on it, and it's starting to turn what looks to be like a clearish yellow color along it, but I can't really tell because it's very murky. Looks like the flour may have absorbed a bunch of the oils and replaced the water in it. It's kind of strange. Alright, so now we'll move on to the gasoline. So this one, when we first put it in here, was bubbling like crazy and sizzling, and the liquid color really didn't change very much, but there is a really weird change to this. If you notice, the flour looks pretty much like the other ones, pretty decently preserved. It's got some bubbles on it. They're not coming off when I flick it. But one thing that happened is all the black dots on this flour disappeared. And they're in this liquid at the bottom, it looks like. I don't know why that happened or how that happened, but it looks like all the pigment off the flour itself is like in a separate layer at the bottom of the jar. See, there's no dots on that flour anywhere, just like the oil. But the difference, I think, is the oil, I can't see any separate liquid. Maybe somebody knows why this happened. I don't know. But that's the 4 liquids and what happened after a week. Biggest changes, I think, would be the vinegar, the gasoline, and the oil. The oil, I would only say the liquid itself had some major changes. I mean, the flour's missing the dots too, but it's not as crazy as the gasoline, I don't think. And just to give you another look at the original flours, I'll take you up here to where they're at so you can see some. So here is what it looked like initially, just for comparative viewpoints. Very vibrant orange with tons of little spots on it. That way you can see the comparative difference here. Oil kind of magnifies it too a little bit. And you can see the Sprite's still kind of the same color, but it's just a little bit darker. The vinegar is totally not the same color anymore. So we'll keep trying different methods.